Hello everybody, it's Ted Saxton again. I'm here with Councillor Harley Droba, and we're going to have our second episode of The Watchmen, where we talk politics and just things that are happening in the community. Do you have anything to add?
Well, no, just we did our first show and KCCTV actually has to pick it up. I thought that was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, we're going big.
Yeah, big time.
Woohoo! No, that's, I was supposed to meet with the guy on Friday, Gary, I believe is his name, and we got too busy at the store, so I had to postpone it, but so we'll be talking on Monday, I think, and probably start having our shows air regularly on KCCTV at like a specific time or something like that.
Isn't it ridiculous when you have too much business and then you have to put your side stuff aside a little bit so you can take care of business?
It's been like that a lot lately. I have had like, I don't know, it's been crazy. There hasn't been any time where I haven't been doing anything lately.
Well, that's great.
Whether it's, you know, family stuff, I count that too.
Right.
But it seems like between family stuff, my extracurriculars, and work, I like have no time.
Really quick, let's talk about the work that you and Danielle Schimmerhorn did for the Chamber.
Oh,
that
yeah.
That was amazing work, and I didn't know that that's what you were working on, but it was awesome.
Yeah, so we made this video. I had one idea to make it, and that's what we were going to go with, and then at the, during our creative meeting, Danielle Schimmerhorn came up with the idea of having a Voyager run through the commercial, and then from there we just kept on brainstorming and rolling with it, knowing that it was such a good idea. And then we split the workload in half for editing and filming. And we had Paul, he's a co-owner of Looney's Brew.
Yep.
And just did an amazing job and was a great sport. We went all the way up to Voyagers. There's a lot that we filmed. We thought we were going to have a blooper reel because we had the commercial and it was to a minute. And it has Paul running around Smokey Bear, and he did this twice and just biffs it big time twice. And so we had him running around full speed, and then he gets to the end of around Smokey Bear, and then it goes into slow motion, and he just goes, whoa! It was great, but we had to cut it due to time, but it was a bummer. Maybe we'll make an unedited one that has some different. We got it from a bunch of different angles too. So.
I will say that when I came across that the first time, I realized that you would put that together along with Danielle, and excellent work. Very, very good work.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we did that for the Chamber pro bono, and last time I checked, it's up to like 35 or 45,000 views, something like that. And it had 200 and some shares. I think it might even be up to 400. The numbers are crazy.
Huge. It's huge. It's good.
And it's more than any video I've ever made, even for like nerds that do stuff when I make my dumb videos, or our election video thing that got some traction. Yeah, this is all organic too so far.
And do you guys have anything on YouTube? Did you guys upload it onto YouTube? Because you could make some.
So I think Sean from the Chamber worked with Susie Best to. With at Charter's advertising division, and it will be on YouTube regionally, so it'll be from Wisconsin to North Dakota, I think. That way they really wanted to focus on all these people who are potential runners.
Right, right. And that was actually one of the things that I was thinking that would be a great idea to advertise it, is put Grandma's Marathon in as one of your tag words, people that are interested in Grandma's Marathon.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I know we thought about like runners and stuff like that, but no, that's a good idea. I'll mention that to her tomorrow when I talk to her. But super proud of the end result. Matter of fact, I didn't know the music for the end commercial until we submitted it, because we were trying to do like a Rocky Eye of the Tiger scene, and we were gonna film like at the top of the library steps doing and stuff. But then it got to be too much, and when she put that like that dramatic running music, it was great. Yeah. I was really proud of that.
Well, I suppose we should move on, but that was very, very good work.
Thank you. Yeah, we look forward to doing more things like that.
So I believe both the school board and the city council right now has ice rink issues.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you start with what's going on at the school?
Well, over at Bronco Arena, they have some rusty pipes, a bad water heater, Some compressors are going. It's like everything. It's the perfect storm over there. And we don't know how bad it is now. And a lot of it is, what do the pipes look like underneath the ice on the severity of it. It could be a bad problem that's manageable, or like a horrible problem that we're really going to have to do some hard planning and get creative with how to fix it.
So is this an issue for this season, or?
They think that they're going to get by this season, and they did have a company that was up, and I think they were looking at either the compressors or the water heaters, and they looked also at the pipes, but they weren't experts. And they said, I think you have 2 to 5 years left, but you have to do something, because they found out about it by a pipe started leaking, one of the refrigerant pipes, but it was leaking before it went into underneath the slab.
Okay.
So it wasn't the end of the world. They repaired it, they patched it, and we'll be good for this season.
Okay.
Knock on wood. But it's going to be something that's going to be a pretty big overhaul there, and we're just right now hoping for the best. And I think they have, I don't know if they have somebody scheduled or they're scheduling somebody. I haven't talked to Kevin Gordon in about a week now, but they're going to have somebody come and look at the pipes to really say, you're either looking at $200,000 to fix it or $2 million to fix it.
Wow.
And the problem with it is, and I don't know about the problems you're having at Cary Park, but the pipes go right into the slab where the ice is poured on. So if you have to fix a pipe in the cement, you have to jackhammer all that stuff out, and it's almost impossible to do. So you have to replace the whole slab.
If you're replacing the slab, you got the boards and everything else is up.
Yeah, and so it's going to be an expensive project if it's the worst case scenario. So
wow.
Hopefully that's not the case. But it was nice to take a tour of there. I will say that the maintenance part of Bronco Arena, super clean. When I worked at Bacchus for a couple of years doing maintenance, and it was a 100-year-old building, and it was kept clean, but it also looked like it was a 100-year-old building. They keep that arena spotless by the boilers and
that's
all the
awesome.
other equipment. So it's not for a lack of caring for the stuff that this has happened.
Okay.
It's a 50-year-old building or more, but somewhere around 50 years, I think, and the pipes are 50 years old, and this is what happened.
It's interesting, at the council level, we were talking about the not arena issues, but the outdoor rink issues. We were talking about, it actually came up that they had the referendum about 50 years ago, and where people had to go to vote for the referendum for that building. So it has been a while, because I don't even remember the last time we had a referendum. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
I don't know. I don't think I can remember. I know we talked about it when I was on the tour of the arena, but I don't remember the specifics.
Right.
But so that's all we're hoping for is the best. I actually don't even. I know there's some issues at Cary Park, and there's some money set aside, or is going to be set aside.
Set some aside this year,
okay,
and move in next year. And it's actually for the outdoor rink, not the indoor.
Oh, okay.
And what we're doing over there is, most people are aware that in the last calendar year we did a lot of upgrades at 8th Street Rink. It was about a little over a year ago, it was asked to be closed down, and a group of citizens came up and said that they wanted to do it, they wanted to manage it. And after the first year, they kind of came up with, this is what we need to make this doable. So the city put in all new boards at 8th Street Rink, and we put in a new light over at 8th Street Rink, and that was great. There was a lot of people that were happy about that, but the people that had been using rec hockey and the people over at Cary Park that had been utilizing that space said, hey, this needs to be upgraded too. And it came to our attention actually when the funding went out for 8th Street that there needed to be funding for Cary Park. So this year, our Public Works guy, Ted Brokaw, he came and looked at a handful of issues that we were having with the outdoor rink, and he brought in Becker, I have my notes here, Becker Arena Products, and they looked at it. That outdoor rink is over 20 years old, and it was a fiberglass board system then, and it's beat up. It's in really rough shape. The plexiglass is bad. It's in really rough shape.
The concrete and the cement, that's all fine.
The concrete is all fine. It's literally the boards that are the problem.
Yeah, well, that's bound to happen with hockey.
Absolutely, and they get beat up, and people are utilizing them, and that's great. That's what we want as a city. So, anyways, Becker Products came in, and they were able to give us a pretty sizable discount if we pre-ordered for next season.
Oh, okay.
So we had some extra money in our public works fund, and the reason for that is instead of paying some people to come in and shingle some of the pavilions that the city has, we're going to do that as a city itself, so we'll save on that labor by having our own people do it. And with that money that we were able to save, we could put a $36,000 down payment on this equipment. So next year, which we already have it factored into our 2017 budget, we can pay the rest of it and get all new boards up over at Cary Park.
Oh, nice.
And they, like I said, and maybe I didn't, the boards that we put in 20 years ago were used.
Oh, were they?
Yeah,
okay.
These are new boards. So this is all new equipment.
Hopefully we
going
get at
on
least
over
another 20 plus years out of it.
One would think.
Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, you know, you're talking about 8th Street Park, and I might as well say it on here. At my last Rotary meeting, Ashley Hall was talking about how they need volunteers to sit at the warming booth or be outside with the fire or something like that. So if you want to volunteer, contact Ashley Hall. I don't have her number or anything, but just
8th Street Rink on 8th Street Park on Facebook. That's another way you can get a hold of them.
Yeah.
I was actually one of the volunteers last year. Every Tuesday I went there throughout the winter last year. And it's a unique thing. Number one, you get to meet a lot of kids because there are a lot of kids that are utilizing that park, and that's way cool. Then there's dog walkers that just stop in with their dog just for a little place to warm. And then there's the reminiscers, people that just want to stop in and talk about, you know, I used to go to this rink when I was a kid, and it's great that this is going. So get ready for a wonderful evening if you choose to volunteer of people just coming in and talking. It's actually very rewarding.
That's good. I was thinking about volunteering, but not on a regular basis for that, just because of lack of time. But I am from International Falls. We moved away quite a bit, but I'm a wuss when it comes to the cold. So when I want to go ice skating with my family, it's not like it is right now, -10. It's like 25, but then the ice is melting from the sun rays. So we do go skating, but only like once or twice a year, and we only live a block from there.
Right.
We should be walking over there all the time, but I'm such a wuss.
Yeah, I had to shovel yesterday, and the rest of the day, this side of my face was burning. No, I totally get it.
Yeah. Oh, so the boards. Anything else that needs to be done at?
No, I guess one of the things that I just learned this week, because as a city councilor, information does come. Other groups have information, and we always try to share information. But it sounds like Rec Hockey is interested, and this isn't official information. This is just a conversation piece that we've had at the city about covering the outdoor rink. Maybe not fully covering it, but putting a pavilion over top or possibly enclosing it. And that way snow doesn't get on it. Just try to make it a little bit cleaner and easier manageable to utilize that rink.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, so that may be a conversation that we start having in 2017 or maybe 2018. But as I understand it, speaking with the city administrator, it really sounds like there's some funds there to do something. So that would be awesome. Just another opportunity to have more recreation here in the area. It's
crazy that they used to have one up by Smoky Bear. They used to have Carson Loopy. They had 8th Street. Right. They had Holler School. Gosh, probably mine. They still have Rainier, but it's crazy how much that they had. I don't know if that's a trend and people are going outside less, or that hockey's less popular. I'm not sure, but it is crazy to think about how much we had when we were a kid.
Well, and I know our population is down.
Well, yeah, that's
but the one thing that I really think is us as parents don't let our kids just walk down the street and go skating.
That's true.
Could you imagine just telling your kids, yeah, go out skating for a couple hours? Yesterday, Caitlin had a handful of young people came over and just random kids knocking on the door, and Caitlin goes, can I go out and play? We're like, yeah, where are you going? And then immediately I'm like, you'll be all right, you know? But I think that's part of it too, is us as parents now, we don't just let your kids go out to the rink for the next 6 hours.
My oldest daughter is 11 now, and we'll let her go if she's with a friend that we trust to 8th Street Park, but keep in mind that's only a block away. It's nothing like amazing.
Right.
And even that, we're like, should we go drive by? Yeah.
Well, and last summer, when my daughter would have been 9, we allowed her to go to St. Thomas Park, and that's 4 blocks away, but she could do it with a friend, and they had to have a watch so they knew when to come back. But, you know, now she goes to the grocery store on her bicycle, but I have to believe, I remember as a kid, my mom would send me to the grocery store, IGA, which is like 9 blocks away, in the middle of the cold, to go and grab a can of soup. You know, I mean, we live in a different world than we did as children.
Yeah, I remember going out in the morning and then coming back at night when the sun went down.
Right. And if you need to get a hold of your kid, you just screamed at the top of your lungs from the porch.
Yeah. If you're on a screaming range, you're too far.
I know, that's true.
One thing that's nice about that, though, is now there's cell phones. So sometimes we'll slip my wife's cell phone into one of my kids' pocket if they're going to be a little further away, but still. Yeah. Anything else? Let's see. I know you have a big thing coming up, I suppose. Talked about it last show, but you are resigning, or going to be officially resigned, because you already resigned, I suppose, or you sent your letter of resignation.
Do you know what you're talking about?
Most of the time I don't. And so 11:59, you're on December 31st, you're going to be done with the position you have now, and then you'll take the oath of office shortly. Not that night, but
I'm waiting it out.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I will be done on 11/59, December 31st this year. That essentially serves out 2 full years as Center Ward City Councilor. And then any business that comes before the council at that, I am the councilor-elect, so if we had to have a special meeting on January 1st or the 2nd, I could get sworn in before that. The plan is to be sworn in on, I believe it's January 4th. It's the Tuesday after the first Tuesday of the year we have our meeting, because the first Monday is a holiday.
Okay.
So that is the plan.
So the first Tuesday of the month, you'll get sworn in, and when will your replacement get sworn in?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. At our last city council meeting, we have decided on the process. So my seat is officially vacant as of midnight on the 31st. So right now, any of our viewers that live in Center Ward that are 21 years of age are welcome to come down and pick up an application where you pay your water bill and turn it in by January 9th. The council has decided that we will be interviewing every candidate. So you have
a shot.
You have an interview, and that's real. I mean, I wouldn't feel okay with if you had 5 people in there and just throw one off on merit, because if you're running for the position, everyone has a shot. So I think that it's very important for our city council right now, and this is actually going to be a conversation piece at our next council meeting. We need to come up with criteria of what we're looking for.
That's true, because, I mean, then how do you pick if you don't have criteria?
How do you pick if you don't know what your criteria is? And I don't know what that is. In all honesty, I don't know what that is.
That'd be hard to come up with.
Well,
I mean, you can. It'd just be hard because you want somebody who's passionate,
right?
But you don't want somebody who's only passionate, you know.
Right, and you don't want to and for the record, I don't know what the council's going to make this decision, but I know that I'll make my decision based off of what criteria we decide on. And the city has a lot of good points, you know, like our city council has a lot of good activity stuff going on. You have Mayor Anderson with his time in the mill, knowledge on wood products, state legislature. I mean, he has a lot of good stuff there. Myself, I'm a little bit younger, different perspective. I have some business background, military background. Brian is a prior council member. He has military background. He worked in the mill as a manager for quite some time. Cynthia, she has accounting background. She is incredibly knowledgeable about our budgets and stuff like that. So, and Pete, not to just throw him out, but as of right now, Pete is very knowledgeable on what's going on at the county, the police, ambulance, fire, all of the stuff that he does with the sheriff's office. So we have that knowledge.
There's nobody who you think is not qualified.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Like everybody deserves to be.
So
there.
then, what would we be looking for with a new council member?
Yeah.
I mean, what do we have coming up that we know that's coming up? Because as you've just found out, things just pop up there, like the arena. But what struggles do we have as a city that we would want someone on our council to fill that need? You know. So I don't know what that is. I would really like to have that conversation with my colleagues. So when we go in, I can't just be like, well, I really like this guy because he seemed nice, or I really like this girl because of this. You know, I don't want to go in with that. I want to know what we're applying, what we're appointing for, because we're in a unique situation. Elections, for as much as they have benefited me, they're all about popularity, and that's great and fine and all, but if you're a popular person with nothing to really offer, what good do you do on a board? And I hope that that's not my case of what I bring in.
People just like you.
Harley's really funny. Let's put him in council. Yeah. It'll be good KCC TV. No, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have a unique opportunity right now to pick somebody that can add something to our council that we're missing or that we need.
What did you say the deadline was for application?
January 9th.
January 9th. So has anybody turned one in yet?
I don't know of who has picked up applications. 2 people have picked up applications. Okay. I don't think it's wise for me to know who's picked them up or has turned them in.
Well, I was wondering, because when we turned them in when we were running for election, then it becomes public record and everybody can know. I wasn't sure if it was the same.
And it could be.
Yeah.
It might be. I haven't dug into that. I have asked if anyone picked them up, but I did not ask the question who picked them up.
Well, that's fair. I mean, you don't need to know, especially if they haven't turned them in. It's not.
But I do like the fact that, and there were 4 people. I might be misleading in that information. I think there were 4 people that picked up applications to run for the at-large, and 2 people actually ran, myself and Joe. So picking up applications doesn't mean anything so much as turning them in does.
That's true. Yeah.
So January 9th, if you're interested in taking my seat for Center Ward City Council, would be the time. You're guaranteed an interview, and we're looking for somebody.
That's good. Yeah, if you're passionate for helping the Falls, make sure to fill out that application and get it turned in. What else? I'm trying to think of there's I don't officially start the school board until January, and you're serving on the city council now, so I figure our first couple episodes will probably be more about the city than the school necessarily. Do you have, let's see, so you had the arena. We talked about what we just talked about. Is there anything else coming up or that we should know about or the viewers should know about?
Well, we one of the big deals has been a comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan is well over 40 years old. Ideally, the state for metro cities, they have to do them every 20 years.
Can I ask, a comprehensive plan, the title's kind of vague because it means it covers everything, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay, so what?
Yeah, it really does.
As far as like pertaining to budget or?
Not so much budget.
Or do you just have to like sit down and reevaluate everything that has to do with city council?
Okay, for the record, our last comprehensive plan actually had the cut across, the 332 cut across
Okay.
on it. That was to be done in the future. And I guess it was some time before that road actually came in. But because it was on the comprehensive plan, when they started looking at the area and what do we need to do, what roads are we going to ask the city and the county to help build, that was one of the things that we had to try to help out the truck bypasses for Boise.
Okay.
So it's a guide for growth or a guide for the future. So one of the things right now, Councillor Jacksaw's passionate about is our housing stock. So that's one of the things that's really important in this one to her, is to make sure that we address our housing stock and what needs does this group, along with our citizens and our council and everyone involved, what do we need to start moving our housing stock to in the next 20 years?
I know that when I moved away 5 or 6 years ago, it might even be longer than that now, we put our house up for rent that we owned and that we moved back into now. And the second we put it on the market, we had at least 30 phone calls. It was crazy. I mean, not on the market to sell, but on the market to rent.
Right.
And we just had tons of phone calls.
Right.
And from a lot of qualified people. These weren't people who you wouldn't want to rent to.
Right.
They were like people you would love to rent to, but there were so many of them.
Right.
And I don't think too much has changed, because, I mean, we haven't added too much housing. So that's good that that will be included, because that's going to be a big part. I know Woodland Apartments came from the last housing survey, which was a lot of years
ago.
So it'd be good to have something new.
So housing is an issue, is something that's going to be addressed in there. Although that isn't the most key piece. The most key piece is going to be land use. How we're going to use our land into the future. And two of the more minor parts of the land use is, hate to bring it up, chickens.
Oh, really?
Deer.
Oh, we joked about that.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. The comprehensive plan, they'll look into the deer and chicken. And what I mean by that is the chickens right now are allowed in the city limits, but it's only in an agricultural zone.
Where's our agricultural zone?
We don't have any agricultural zone. So that's one of the things that we need to look at is, especially out by the Donahue property on the outskirts of town, also heading out towards Rainier, there's a couple of areas that may be prime for an agricultural zone, and maybe that is the place that we allow chickens. Secondly, the comprehensive plan, when you're looking at the zoning, the deer hunt, bow deer hunting may come back into play if we can.
And that was, we didn't vote for that as constituents. That was a city council thing.
That was a city council thing, and it was talked about literally for a year, maybe even a year and a half in committee. It seems like we spent a lot of time on the deer hunting to just table it for this, but this is the way to do it. In all honesty, you get the people in the community now, we can have their voice. That's one of the reasons we actually picked this company for the comprehensive plan, is they want to get out there and speak with people, but not necessarily the same way that it's happened in the past. They want to do surveys, but they don't want to do a 20-minute survey online. They want to literally be at our 4th of July celebration and have people and ask people 3 questions, and put that in there, and then ask someone else 3 questions. Okay. Or be outside the coffee landing when people are coming out. Do you have a minute to answer 2 questions or 5 questions? Just quick questions so that they can get the information for a comprehensive plan as what we want to be as a community. What do we want to be as a community? Do we want to be a retirement community? Do we want to be the travel center where people are coming up here to utilize our lakes? Do we want to be a second major industry? Do we want to have a lot of small business? So that's partly what this comprehensive plan will be. How do we grow out our Main Street? How do we, the reality is we are a shrinking community. Mm-hmm. How do we shrink but keep the same facilities and pay for the same facilities that we have?
You don't want to offer less services, but you can still be small and be awesome. I mean, I've been to quite a few towns, in Minnesota, a couple in northern Minnesota. Seems like there's a lot less in northern Minnesota who have it together, but I would say Bemidji does a pretty good job. They're bigger than us, but their town is flourishing. Ely's one. Ely's actually one of my favorite towns to visit, and you go there and you're just like, you know, this town has at least half the population, if not less, than International Falls, and you go there and you're just like, oh, this is a great place to go and visit. And it'd be nice to have some of that here, not to say that we don't, but more of it. They focus so much on tourism, and if you go there in the wintertime, a lot of their stores are closed because they focus so much on tourism. Right. And not that that's a bad thing, they're closed, it's part of their business
model. It's part of their business model, absolutely.
So it'd be nice to have something like that. And we have like resorts that do rentals and things like that, but it's not like our main staple here.
So that's what we
need. It could be.
That's what we need to figure out. It's actually funny. Today I was watching a show on Netflix. It's Man vs. Snake, and it is actually relevant for a very, very little piece.
Okay. Glad you were watching.
In 1984, Twin Galaxy, which is the video game hub of the universe, apparently, they had pictures, and back in the day, this game, and I can't think of the name of it, but it was, anyways, they had a local boy ended up getting the world record on this video game, and then some guy in Italy ended up beating it, and because this small town ended up becoming the world capital, or the universe's capital of video game play, they had a lot of pictures and stuff.
So you're talking about Snake, the video game.
Very similar. It's not that.
Okay.
But it's...
No, but I mean, because you said it's Man versus Snake.
Because there's a snake in the video game.
Oh, okay. All right.
But anyways, they have pictures of this downtown Main Street, and I caught it immediately because it was so reminiscent of our Main Street, of what it looked like today. Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, wow, that's a nice little bustling, and that's 1984. So after the movie was done, I really wanted to learn more about this town, so I ended up pulling up the community in Iowa, in a very rural area of Iowa, and their Main Street is in disarray. I mean, their Main Street looks like it has been abandoned, and it's so interesting because what they looked like in 1984 is what Ely looks like now, and it's a step away from what we look like now, because we have most of our buildings are filled now. I mean, that's wonderful. We have a couple empty ones, but it's amazing how in 40 years a bustling downtown can go away. And I think that's what we need to be focusing on in our community, is having that bustling downtown, having that growth in this heart of your community, and doing more events like your Icebox Days events are downtown, and your 4th of July, and your bass tournament. Anything we can get to be a downtown and have a focal point of our community, I really think is important.
And I think that the events, and this has to do a lot with the bass tournament and the 4th of July. Some years, the 4th of July celebration isn't as good as other years, but it seems like overall there's a trend for that, and now with the bass tournament being huge, and our crazy days, it seems like we are making a step in the right direction. Comprehensive plan that included that, that would be the only logical way to go about, preventing a ghost town in 40 years, is a solid comprehensive plan.
Absolutely, and my personal thought as a citizen, not as a city councilor, but as a citizen, is your downtown district, especially with the way our buildings are set, and I mean, parking is an issue downtown, and that's one of the things we want to address in the comprehensive plan. But without a bustling downtown district or heart of our community, we could all just be Amazon shoppers. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's where everything is gearing towards. And if you don't give a experience to people to come downtown or to get out of their house, our generation just doesn't want to do it. And that's why you need to have that bustling, like you said, you want to go down to Ely because you feel an experience or an attachment to that town because of that. And that's what we need to focus on in our community in downtown International Falls.
I'd never seen a ghost town until I went to Ohio, and I was doing newspaper
That's a
sales
state.
there.
That's a state.
If you let me finish. So I had to go from the airport, I can't remember if it was Cincinnati or what town it was, into Athens, Ohio, and there's the major road there would be the equivalent of 53.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through towns. And I'd never seen so many ghost towns there. There was like one town where it was as big as our downtown, and the guy owned all of it, and it was the biggest furniture store ever. Like all the buildings were connected, and it was just one furniture store because he got all the buildings for almost nothing, you know.
Wow.
So and there was nothing else there. It was
Did you
weird.
go shopping?
No, I drove through it. I don't think it was close enough for me to stop in and sell an advertisement to where my base was.
Yeah.
But there were so many of those there. Where
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know we've had some towns like Ray. You know, it isn't what it used to be. Rainier's doing a good job. They're making it come back, and that's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, what my real theory is what's good for Coochin County is good for International Falls.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
there might be a couple slight exceptions, but for the most part, you're right.
Well, I mean, the grocery stores for Coochin County essentially are here in International Falls. The major department store is here in International Falls, and you know, we offer a lot of the we're the county seat, so I mean, we also have the ambulance, the fire, we have sheriff's deputies. I mean, what is good for Coochin County is good for International Falls, so I love to see Rainier and Little Fork survive and thrive. So,
absolutely. Anything else with the comprehensive plan that we didn't talk about that would be worth mentioning?
I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
And more will come out as the plan
Right.
goes on and stuff, but it's a good first step.
I think it is. Oh, one of the things that I guess I would want to point out is with the company that we ended up going with, one of the key things for our city council as a whole was to make sure that they utilized the information that came in from Voyage Forward. So all of the survey, the 4 questions, all the information that came in for Voyage Forward will be put into the knowledge base of our contract, and they're gonna improve upon them. And what I mean by improve upon, not putting Voyage Forward down in any capacity, but they are going to go out and resurvey demographics. One of the things they want to talk to is more youth, and they wanted to get more business input. They wanted to get in more, because I don't know the exact number, but it was like 250 roughly people that took part of the survey of the 6,000 people that live in International Falls. Okay. So they just want to get a little bit more deep into the community. No disrespect to Voyage Forward. In fact, a ton of props to Voyage Forward. That's why we picked this company, because they were willing to utilize the information that we already had.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Might as well not waste all that effort.
And that's absolutely what we didn't want to see done, is have to reduplicate the process. We just did the survey. We just spent $400,000. Okay, well, we don't like that, so let's do this. No, that wasn't the case at all. We wanted to make sure that they utilized what efforts the citizens have already had to move forward to this new product that we can look to build our community for the next 20 years.
This isn't so much about the town or anything like that, but the worst data you can have is, in a statistics standpoint, is survey data, because nobody really knows what they want. Because like if you say, you can have one business here, what is it going to be? Well, a lot of people are going to say, oh, I love an Applebee's, or something like that.
Applebee's.
But really, what you'd really want, is a job creator or something like that. Not that Applebee's wouldn't create jobs. So it's good that.
But it wouldn't. In all honesty, though, it wouldn't create the right types of jobs. I'm all for retail, food, restaurant, but those industries we already have, and we're served there. Now, if we had a lightweight manufacturer that was and I'll just throw around, making snow blowers.
Mm-hmm.
We have parts coming into International Falls, whether it's on train, whether it's on a truck, but we have parts coming in, and people go and do a job, they build something, we send that part out, and paychecks come to International Falls, rather than, you have a Applebee's, for instance. No disrespect to Applebee's, but they come in, unless they're locally owned, they're gonna pay paychecks here in International Falls, but all the money that they make then goes back to their corporate headquarters or wherever they're at. Mm-hmm. So paychecks in town and products going out of town, that's where you actually build some real retail base, because now all of those lightweight manufacturers, whether it's a snowblower or whatever it is you're making, they're building paychecks. Well, if people have money in their hands, retail is the natural follower. Now your Applebee's that are going to come to town. Then you're going to get your Jean Company, whatever it is. So the retail follows.
That's what I was saying. It's what we want and what we actually need might be two different things.
Absolutely.
But these companies that deal with it understand that. But us as survey takers might not know that. So really think about your answers and what's best for the community when you're answering those things when they come out. Because I love Applebee's food, but we need a lot more than that, or a Target. There's a lot more that this community needs than just our quick fix.
And I will tell you, I absolutely love our restaurants here in town.
Oh yeah, it's weird though that we don't. I mean, we have our chain restaurants like McDonald's and Hardee's, but we don't have chain restaurants other than that. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
So we have the fast foods.
Yeah, we have our fast food chains, and there's no town in the United States that doesn't have fast food chains.
Right.
But all of our restaurants, and we have some of the best restaurants that I've been to here. That if I was a person driving by, I don't know that I would stop at necessarily. Like Sandy's place is kind of like a hidden gem.
Right.
That if you're driving by from out of town, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people do.
Right.
I don't think I would, but that's one of my favorite places to eat.
See, and I think we have a unique opportunity. Well, the Chocolate Mousse has a unique opportunity because they're the first one, and they have the feel.
Yeah, they do.
They have the feel of. There must be 5 of these somewhere.
Yeah, I've mentioned that many times to people when I've had conversations of, if you want a chain restaurant, our Chocolate Mousse is our chain restaurant that isn't a chain restaurant.
Right, it's got that feel to it. And if you're coming in, I mean, a lot of people are just looking for that fast food, especially if they're traveling or whatever. But we do have some amazing gems here in our community with Chocolate Mousse, Sandy's Place, shameless plug, VFW Cafe. Coffee Landing, Super One, Espresso Lane, County Market even has good deli.
Yeah.
So we do have really good place. Rose Garden.
I was gonna say actually when you were done talking, I eat at Rose Garden more than any human should. I probably eat there more than the owners.
Yeah.
I was there last night.
Yeah, no, we do. For a 6,000 person community, we have some really good food.
Yeah.
And then, let's be really honest. We're not at a loss for pizza.
No.
We have Domino's, we have Border Bar, Little Caesars in Kmart.
Almost Lindy's.
Lindy's has pizza.
Oh, Rainy Lake Grill has good pizza now too. And then they were shut down one week, and or not 1 week, one night when we thought that they were going to be open,
right.
And they weren't. And we stopped at the Loon's Nest. Good pizza. It was weird.
Yeah, I have heard that. My wife and I went there one time for a quick bite to eat. We didn't have pizza, but we had some food, and it was amazing there too. We do. We have some really neat food for such a small community, really.
So I guess that pretty much covers everything that we wanted to cover today.
Absolutely.
We didn't get any questions submitted from our last show, but I was a little late to getting it to production with having some sound issues. And so if anybody has any questions, reach out to me and Harley on Facebook or call us, text us. Stop in at either one of our stores, and we'll talk to you. Also, if...
you made that sound like we'll talk to you, like it's a handshake agreement, like you come in and we'll talk to you.
Is that negative or what? I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't mean to say it negatively. Okay, if you come into my store, I'll talk to you. If you go into Harley's store, he'll give you a foot massage. I don't know.
I probably won't, but I'll be more than willing to talk to you.
Okay. Oh, you'll be willing to talk to him. Or if you want to come on the show and express any of your opinions, especially if you're a local politician or community activist, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you want to get your viewpoint across, come in. We're looking forward to hopefully being on KCC TV at a regular time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's it for our second episode. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I just, real quick, I guess I should have caught this before we did our closing. Greatest thing that I've done since our last episode is I was able to work with one of your counterparts, Tony Corpy, over at the Good Samaritan Center with some Girl Scouts. And we talked about Pearl Harbor to the residents.
I saw that. Was that in the newspaper?
Yeah, it was.
So I haven't read yesterday's newspaper yet.
Absolutely. And most wonderful thing I've done in the last 2 weeks. So proud of those young ladies and what they gave to the community and to the residents of the Good Samaritan Center. It was so awesome to be part of it. They read President Roosevelt's A Day That'll Live in Infamy speech, and then they were going to sit down and talk with the residents a little bit. And I don't know how this changed so quickly, but they were talking about Pearl Harbor and they were talking about stuff, and there was a couple of papers left on the table from earlier. They had a sing-along or something, and those Girl Scouts just got up and said, "Can we sing Christmas carols to you guys?" And they sang Christmas carols, and it was so wonderful, and I was so proud to be part of that, and just huge kudos to all the Girl Scouts, Girl Scout leaders, Boy Scouts, and Boy Scout leaders. Just being part of our community, it was just awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know my daughter was singing Christmas carols with the Girl Scouts, different troop out at the Rainier Roost, and we came out there and. They, all these people that just love it.
Absolutely.
Anything that's out at the nursing home, I love. My other daughter had a band thing out there, and it's just so much appreciated. Yeah. Especially when it comes to veterans, because we're both veterans.
Right. Yes, I am a veteran. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, and me too. But. So when I saw that, I saw the Facebook post because I hadn't had the paper yet, and so I didn't have time to read it. I was like, you know what? Good for them. Whenever I see, I take being a veteran for granted until I see like old timers that are veterans.
Absolutely.
And you're like, 50 years ago, they were doing that same awful thing that I was doing. It's a bond, and that being
absolutely
greatly involved with the VFW. So that was awesome to see. And this town in the past year especially, but all through, has really been a town that supports their veterans, and I really like
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. And I don't see that dying anytime soon.
No.
We have a great community for that.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess we could wrap up.
Okay. Well, and then that's it for this episode. We look forward to seeing you next time. Next time I think we'll have a specific time that it'll be on KCC TV nailed down, and then you can tune in regularly and set your VCRs to record it. Thank you.
Yep.